Life is no pony farm. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Grant Akeem channel. This is Grant Predicts the Bundesliga, my match day 3 recap. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. And look, before we start getting into the recap, this week in the Bundesliga, a very, very tough week for me, as you're going to see. I basically predicted all the losers this week, and I'm very pissed off at myself, very unfortunate. And look, that's going to happen every week, can't be perfect. Nobody's perfect, you live and you're worth it. Who's that, Miley Cyrus? Yeah, we're pulling out of Miley Cyrus. This is definitely not a perfect week for me. Oh, before we get too deep, I always forget this. If you are new to the channel, consider subscribing. Bottom right hand corner, click the bell icon so you're notified when I go live. Smash like button as well. Make sure you follow me on the Twitter. @GrantAkeem is my handle. @Grant_Akeem is the Instagram and TikTok. If you want to get merch, join the Discord, or make a donation, all of those links are in the video description. As a reminder, Grant predicts, you know the drill, but if you're new, for each correct prediction you get right, you get 1 point. If you don't get it right, you get no points. And we can all compare to see how many points we have. I will, of course, let you know my season total at the end of my slideshow here. Let's get to the slideshow now that we're talking about it. So we'll keep this to 10 minutes. I promise. We did 15 minutes last week, but let's try cutting it down to 10. Keep this pretty snappy. But I do ramble on, so we shall see how this goes. Match day 3 predictions by Grant. We are working. Fantastic. I love technology. Love it. So this was the wash along we did. This was Friday. This feels like ages ago, but it was this past Friday. Dortmund and Heidenheim. My prediction was Borussia Dortmund because I was like, you know what? They had a crap game against Köln. They did win. They were utter crap again against Bochum away, where they got a draw. Came from behind to get a draw. And I'm like, you know what? Edin Terzic and everyone, there just has to be some hunger that has not been present the past 2 games. There has to be something within this Dortmund team that they're finally against Heidenheim, a newly promoted team, back at home at the Signal Iduna Park. Something's got to give. Like, Dortmund's form is going to shine here today, right? And it started off that way. 100%. Julian Brandt, 7 minutes in, got a goal for Dortmund. He went #Bardowski. And then in the 15 minutes, so about 8 minutes later, Emre Can gets a penalty off a handball by Maloney, I believe, who is an American. Shout out Maloney. We love you in America. Emre Can converts the penalty. So Borussia Dortmund, 15 minutes in, have a 2-0 lead. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be a slaughter fest. 5-0 win for Dortmund, I think is what I said on my live stream. Like, it's just going to be Dortmund's day. Sorry, Heidenheim, but you're going to get creamed today, essentially. End of the first half, 2-0 lead. You could sense Heidenheim getting more into the game after the first, kind of later in the first half. And in the start of the second half, I was like, okay, Heidenheim are kind of controlling the play, but I was expecting Dortmund to really come back and possess the ball more. But boy, was I wrong. Dinky, in the 61st minute, got a goal to make it 2-1. And then I was like, okay, Dortmund, let's wake up here. You can't let this slip away. And I believe didn't they hit the post at some point? Like, there was a point where I was like, oh my god, like, this should be a 2-2 game. And then we had the VAR madness. So it was off a set piece. I think it was Haller grabbed someone by the neck or like shoved them down in the box. Referee awards a penalty. Then they go to VAR. They realize the Heidenheim player was offsides, so they said no goal. And then I was like, oh my gosh, Dortmund are absolutely getting bailed by the refs today. And I thought Dortmund were going to win, and I'm like, well, the only reason why they won was because the referees bailed them out there. But then the substitutes happen. We see Niklas Füllkrug, who I think is an awesome signing for Dortmund. I would have loved to have seen him at least start the second half. I'm a bit surprised he came on so late. A couple of those other substitutions were a bit questionable by Edin Terzic. But it's early days in the season. I don't want to bash Edin. I love Edin as a manager, and I have a long leash for my boy Edin Terzic. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen full crew come on a bit earlier. Just you could sense Heidenheim getting back to the game, so I would have been more proactive in my subs. But yeah, the substitutes happen, and then the referee goes to the earpiece, and he's like, "Oh, okay." He goes back to the monitor, so they're going back to VAR on the same play. Maybe about 2 minutes later, he awards the penalty. So VAR did its own VAR check on itself, went back to the original decision by the ref saying it is a penalty. That was insane. Let me know at home if you've ever seen anything like that before. That's the first time I've ever seen that. So, let me know if you've seen that. That's got to be like seeing a pink unicorn in the wilds. I mean, that's got to be a rare sight. I don't know if we'll ever witness that live again. That's just crazy. But then, of course, Heidenheim in the 82nd minute converts the penalty, makes it 2-2. And I said on the stream, like, it's deserved. Honestly, Heidenheim deserve a point. They played really well in the second half after being down 2-0. And you got to commend Heidenheim. They easily could have folded and said, you know what, we're not as good as Dortmund. We're on the road. Let's just give up. Whatever. They kept with it, and they got a draw out of it. From the Dortmund perspective, this is a loss. I know they got a point, but this is a draw that feels like a loss. You had a 2-0 lead after 15 minutes. Couldn't bury Heidenheim away at home. I mean, this is a Bundesliga 2 side that somehow found a way back in the game. And you're the big bad Borussia Dortmund, and it's not a good look. Everybody outside of Germany thinks you're bottlers for last season. It just adds to the bottler motif, you could say. Not a good look for Dortmund. And at this point on, I'm very pessimistic towards Dortmund. I have lost all confidence and trust in picking them to win games anymore. This is 3 times in a row. I'm going to be very cautious for match day 4 of whoever they play, in terms of if I pick them to win or not, because I don't like this. However, they still got points. They didn't lose. And they're on this crazy unbeaten streak in the Bundesliga, and you got to commend them at least somewhat for it, right? Like, yeah, they're playing like sometimes garbage, but they're getting points, right? It's not like they're losing every game. So I think that's something a positive. You could spin that into a positive. The glass is half full, so to say. But yeah, that's enough on that game. I was very pissed off on the stream. I said Dortmund were going to win, which means, of course, I was wrong. And, this is crazy. That was a crazy stream. Also, if you want a full explanation of the VAR madness, head to my Twitter, @GrandAkeem. I explained it there very thoroughly about what happened, the 2 VAR checks, and the whole situation. So you can go there, and I made a nice little video for you to look, and did a little texting so you can see the full explanation of what happened. But yeah, that's how we started off Friday Night Bundesliga. I always say Friday Night Bundesliga is always a cracker, by these all say myself. Is always a cracker. But yeah, alright, let's get to the next one. Augsburg and Bochum. These are the Saturday games. This was also a 2-2 game. Bochum coming off that draw against Dortmund, where I felt like they probably deserved 3 points for match day 2. Bochum brought that momentum into this game against Augsburg. Take a look at the game recap. Beljo scored in the 35th minute for Augsburg to make it 1-0. Then in the 45th minute, in the stoppage time in the first half, Asano scored for Bochum, who I thought had a great game. Asano against Dortmund, and looks like he's continuing to play well. 62nd minute, Dimitrovic scores for Augsburg to make it 2-1 in the second half. Then 2 minutes later, Asano scores again to make it 2-2, and that's how the game would end. Fantastic stuff for Asano, got the brace. And look, Bochum, if they keep playing like this, look out for Bochum. I'm just kidding. I mean, I think they're good enough to stay up in the Bundesliga, but I don't... Yeah, they're going to be towards the bottom. They might be... I bet you they'll finish... 18th is relegated, 17th is relegated, and then 16th is the relegation playoff. I bet you they'll finish like 14th or 13th at best. But in this one, I did go Augsburg. because I thought they just have more quality on the team. But Bochum, resilient Bochum on the road, get a well-deserved draw, which means I was wrong again. Not a good way to start. 0 for 2 for me on match day 3. Not great. But I tell you what, Leverkusen, they're a team that you can rely upon. They look like the real deal this season. Leverkusen 5, Darmstadt 1. Darmstadt newly promoted. You kind of knew the result of this one. But let's go to the game review. Boniface scored in the 21st minute. And then this is very interesting. 4 minutes later, Wilhelmsen scored in the 25th minute to make it 1-1. So you're like, oh shit, Darmstadt. Don't count out Darmstadt. And that is how the first half would end. And then early days in the second half, Palacios scored in the 49th minute. Then Boniface scored again in the 61st. Then we had Hoffman in the 67th. And then Hiozek in the 83rd. So, like I keep saying, Humpty Dumpty, it all came grumbling down. The Darmstadt's Humpty Dumpty egg fell off the castle wall, smashed all over in Leverkusen. It was a gory scene. They had to get the cleaning crew. Disgusting. But Leverkusen did get the win. 3 wins from 3 for Leverkusen. They're the real deal. I think they should get top 4 this year easily. I wasn't too sure about Leverkusen, but I'd count on them getting top 4. And at this point for Borussia Dortmund, I think I said last week they'll get top 4. I'm not sure if they're going to do that anymore. If they can't right the ship here soon for Dortmund, it's like, will they even get top 4? We don't know. But of course, I was right. So the first prediction I get right, Leverkusen over Darmstadt. Not too impressive. I feel like a lot of us would have gotten this one right, but hey, it's one in the bag for me. And a tough week that was for me, this match day. But next, we have Hoffenheim 3, Wolfsburg 1. To recap this one, it started off good for Wolfsburg. I had a Wolfsburg in this because they're a team that has more quality, I think. And even though they're on the road, I felt like they'll get it done. They've done pretty well this year so far. Thomas scored in the 36th minute. And then I always say goals scored right before halftime or right after halftime are real just ball busters. Like, it just sucks. In any sport. Like, right before the period ends in hockey, right? It's devastating. It's a huge blow. And on halftime, my boy John Brooks from America, shout out John Brooks. If you know, you know, from the 2014 World Cup, the header against Ghana. We love John Brooks. Scored in the 45th minute in stoppage time to make it 1-1. And basically, Hoffenheim took over from there. Had the momentum. Beller scored in the 60th minute, and then Skov scored in the 74th minute. And, yeah, not a good day for, I forgot, Wout Weghorst. Wout Weghorst is on Wolfsburg. I forgot about that. We love Wout. But yeah, Wout Weghorst on Wolfsburg and his boys couldn't get it done against Hoffenheim. Oh, I forgot to do player of the games for the other game. That's okay. We'll start now. Andre Kramrick, your man of the match, according to FOTMob, 8.3 rating. Can we quickly go back and do the other player ratings? Boniface, player of the game for Leverkusen. Asano, of course, for Bochum. Emre Can got man of the match for Dortmund. Dortmund don't deserve a man of the match, in my opinion. But yeah, I predicted Wolfsburg. I was wrong. Like AGT. Give me the X, Simon. Give me the X. Stuttgart. So apparently, this is 3 match days in a row for Stuttgart. No matter what game they're in, one team is going to score 5 goals. Whether it's Stuttgart or whether it's the opponent. Every single game they've played so far in the Bundesliga, one team has scored 5 goals. In match day 1, beat Bochum 5-0. Match day 2, lost to Leipzig 5-1. Match day 3 against Freiburg, beat them 5-0. So something about Stuttgart and 5 this season. So look out for that. We'll see if that continues into match day 4. But then to recap this one, started off early for Stuttgart. Fulreich, 8th minute goal. Gorasse, 17th minute goal. 2 minutes later, in the 19th minute, he scored again. Fulreich, 62nd minute, and then Milot in the 75th minute. So Freiburg, as soon as the referee blew the whistle to start the game, they were essentially down and out. Wasn't much of a contest. I predicted Freiburg. I'm not sure why. I think it was because I like the bird logo. It looks cool. Very neat. But I was wrong. I was very wrong indeed. 5-0. Embarrassing. Your player, the man of the match, is Seru Guriassi for Stuttgart. Next, Werder Bremen and Mainz. Werder Bremen, interesting team. They lost to Bayern the first week. I don't think they looked that great. The second week, they lost to Freiburg 1-0. Had not scored a goal all season in the Bundesliga. So I was like, Mainz is coming in. They've done, all right. They lost to Union 4-1, and that game was a lot closer because they had 2 penalties and missed. They played Eintracht Frankfurt to a draw, who was a pretty decent side. So I thought, you know what, it's got to be Mainz in this game. Werder Bremen just not off to a good start. I just don't see a way past Mainz. But boy, was I wrong. They found their scoring touch early. Duck scored in the 3rd minute on a penalty, 1-0 at halftime. 53rd minute, Stage scored, Bittencourt scored, 82nd minute, and then Nijma scored in the 83rd minute. 4-0 over Mainz, and good job of Werder Bremen at home. They finally scored some goals in the Bundesliga, but boy, was I wrong. I said Mainz were going to win, and again, completely wrong. I feel like we're noticing a theme here. Lots of blowouts this weekend. Lots of 4-0, 5-0. Lots of games weren't even close. I feel like match day 2, there were lots of late winners. And speaking of late winners, Bayern Munich and Borussia Mönchengladbach. That was a 10 out of 10 transition there. That wasn't even scripted. 10 out of 10 transition. That's the kind of content you get on the Granite Keem channel. Just raw, authentic, great content. Not. Gladbach, Bayern Munich. So Bayern Munich, they were off to a hot start this year, of course. They're Bayern Munich after all. 4-0 over Werder Bremen, 3-1 over Augsburg, but they have yet to kind of put a full 90-minute performance where you're like, this is the big bad Bayern Munich that's going to challenge Man City for Champions League. Haven't really seen that yet this year, and it was a struggle for Bayern. It did not start off well, and before we start getting to the match, I will say Gladbach, I've had Bayern Munich's number. Bayern Munich had not beaten Gladbach in 5 previous attempts. I think that Gladbach had 3 wins and 2 draws over those 5 matches. So, and no team in the Bundesliga has more wins over Bayern than Gladbach. So this was the bogey team for Bayern Munich, especially on the road. I think I said it was going to be like a 3-1 game. It was going to be a little bit tighter. I didn't expect it to be this tight. Itakura scored off a great header in the 30th minute. I just lost my spots on the iPad here. Give me a second. Itakura, 30th minute goal, off a corner kick, heads it. It was a corner to the back post. He heads it across the other post. Side netting. Ulreich just basically had to watch it go in. And Gladbach definitely had momentum in the first half, even though Bayern, I would say, controlled most of it. You could sense Gladbach after that goal really coming alive, had the momentum. And then the second half comes in, and I really love this by Thomas Tuchel. See, Edin Terzic didn't do this, where he didn't really make a sub early on in the game to make a difference, or early on in the second half to make a difference in the Heidenheim game. But Thomas Tuchel noticed Gladbach were getting the momentum, was proactive, made a sub, put on Konrad Lima, and I feel like Konrad Lima totally changed the game. Bayern had so much energy. There was just so much firepower from Bayern once he was on the pitch, and it was a different Bayern team with him in it. It didn't take long. It was Leroy Sané who hit the post in the first half, scored in the 58th minute, and then Tell This was 87th minute to break Gladbach hearts, I said in the stream. And boy, did it. I thought Gladbach were going to get a draw, but Tell said no. Bayern get the 2-1 win. Your man of the match is Joshua Kimmich. He had the assist on Leroy Sané's goal. And I'm such a huge fan of Kimmich. His vision is so good. I love players that have such great vision and you can see passes like that. That's kind of how I was when I played hockey. I was always like, I was a passer as a defenseman. I always could see passes before they happened, right? If you know what I mean. And I feel like Kimmich is the same, way better than I ever will be. But yeah, love Joshua Kimmich. I actually have his jersey on for Team Germany. Love my boy Kimmich. I did say, of course, Bayern, and I was right. 9 times out of 10, if you predict Bayern, they are going to win. I apologize. I feel like we're going to go past our 10-minute quota. Damn it, Grant. Well, we're on to the Sunday games. We're on the home stretch here. Don't you worry. Eintracht Frankfurt and Köln. This was an interesting game. I did see the highlights for this one. Very tight. Köln are one of those stingy mid-table teams that if you don't play your best, they will take points away from you. Eintracht Frankfurt are a team, big name team. They're a big club. They usually finish around the Europa League spots, if not Conference League spots. I think they're in the Conference League this year. And everybody knows my thoughts on the Conference League. But they usually finish around there, like pretty decent side, Frankfurt. My favorite player on Frankfurt, by the way, is Mario Götze. Shout out Mario Götze. He had the winner in the World Cup for Germany in 2014 in Brazil. I love that Germany team. That was a fun team to watch. But yeah, Köln, a very stingy team. You saw that against Dortmund. Who did they do in Matchday 2? Yeah, okay, they lost to Wolfsburg 2-1. So 2 losses to start the year, looking for something, at least a point in this Bundesliga campaign. It started off well. Kind in the 43rd minute got a penalty. He converts for Köln. It looked like Köln were well on their way to 3 points, but once again, Köln slip up late in the game. It's Nkunku in the 87th minute for Eintracht Frankfurt to break Köln hearts. I think that's a goat, their logo. It is a goat. To break the goat hearts. I don't know what the mascot is. 87th minute goal. That's always tough. And that's a draw that probably feels like a loss for Köln. A draw that feels like a win for Eintracht Frankfurt. I did predict draw on this one. One of the rare times where I predict a draw and it actually happens. So very proud of myself for this one. We got 3 so far. Your man of the match is Eric Martel for Köln. Let's see if I got the last game of the week right. Warning, I did not. Union Berlin and RB Leipzig. Game of the week, in my opinion. 2 teams that are going to finish in the top 4, in my opinion. I thought Union Berlin were going to put up more of a fight. We're going to be more stingy, I guess, at home, right? It's a home game for them. And then RB Leipzig, they lost to Leverkusen. I thought they might slip up here again on the road, but boy, was I wrong. It was a scoreless game, scoreless affair in the first half. Simon scored in the 51st minute, and then something big happened. 64th minute, Kevin Volon got a red. So from then on, Union Berlin were down to 10 men, and they tried their best, but they didn't succeed, to quote Chris Martin. Sesko scored in the 85th minute, and then again at the 87th minute, and that was basically all she wrote there. Very disappointing for Union Berlin. Kind of their first test this season, and they didn't show up to the test. They failed the test, losing 3-0. But early days, and I'm curious to see how Union Berlin does against Leverkusen or Bayern or even Dortmund. I bet you they'll beat Dortmund this year because Dortmund's like the charity. They're the charity of the Bundesliga. They just hand points out to everybody. You want a point? Heidenheim, here's a point for you. You'll take it. Darmstadt, do you want a point? Here you go, Darmstadt. You get a point. I feel like that's Borussia Dortmund. Oh, I'm so pessimistic. I'm so pessimistic about Dortmund. I did predict Union Berlin to win, which means I was wrong. And that ends a terrible week for me in terms of predicting the Bundesliga. Javi Simons was your man of the match according to FOTMob. Thank you again, FOTMob, for the stats and everything. I really appreciate it. Awesome app. Please check it out. If you don't know FOTMob, just type it in the App Store or Google Play Store. And it's a great source. You can follow all your teams, no matter what country. They do it all. Bundesliga, Premier League, MLS, the Saudi League, any league. They do every single league. So no matter what team you're a fan of, check it out. It's an awesome app, and I use their stats on my live streams all the time, so check it out. Grant's total correct predictions, and that picture there was from our stream on Friday, and I think that perfectly caps Edin Terzic and Borussia Dortmund. Just what the fuck are we doing? Like, what are we doing this season? You get the win against Köln, barely. Tie Bochum, tie Heidenheim. Just not good. Not good at all. Not acceptable. Not up to my standards, at least. So my total correct prediction so far this year is 13. We only got 3 right. 3 white. I sound like the guy from Bugs Bunny cartoons. Wabbit. It's a wabbit. 3 white, 3 right. This week, 13 correct predictions. Let me know at home how many predictions you got correct this week and your season total. Put it in the comment section down below. Just brutal week for me, man. I don't know what happened. The algorithm didn't work for me. My Granite Keen patented algorithm to figure out who wins failed me. I'm going to have to do some refining on my end to fix the algorithm. But hopefully Matchday 4 goes a lot better for me. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. That's not only does that sum up Dortmund's season, that sums up my week for correcting the predictions, right? That sums up my Matchday 3 predictions perfectly. Tough. Right, we'll take a look at the table, and then we'll sign off and say goodbye. Apologies, we're way over time. Oh my, this is the longest video I've done of these Grant predicts. We're almost at a half an hour. Oh, bloody hell, Grant. Bloody hell. Oh, apologies, everybody. That's okay. I like talking about the Bundesliga. You can't blame me. So, to recap you of the table, this is the live table as of Matchday 3, after Matchday 3. Leverkusen remain atop, 9 points, plus 8 goal differential. Bayern Munich in second with 9 points. They're tied, but because of the goal differential, Leverkusen are first. Stuttgart, I bashed Stuttgart fans after Matchday 1 saying, oh, you're never going to be first again. They're third. They're in third place, plus 6 goal differential. If they keep putting up 5 spots on these teams, then their goal differential is going to be insane by the end of the year. Then we have RB Leipzig in second. In fourth, tied for third with 6 points. Union Berlin in fifth with 6 points. Hoffenheim in sixth place with 6 points. Very impressive for Hoffenheim, 6th place. Wolfsburg in 7th with 6. Freiburg in 8th with 6 points. Borussia Dortmund starting to fall off. They're falling off my top half of the table here in 9th with 5 points. 1-2 record, not good enough. Eintracht Frankfurt 1-2 record. They probably want to improve upon that. That's not good for Frankfurt standards. 5 points. Werder Bremen in 11th with 3. Augsburg in 12th with 2. Bochum in 13th with 2. And then we have the teams that are going to be fighting it out, I think. Maybe not Gladbach. I think Gladbach will improve, but a lot of these teams are going to be fighting for relegation. Köln 1 point in 14th. Heidenheim in 1 point with 15th. Also, by the way, that was Heidenheim's first Bundesliga point in their club history that Dortmund gave them. So it's the Borussia Dortmund charity. And then we have Gladbach in 16th with 1 point. Mainz in 17th with 1 point. And poor Darmstadt in 18th with no points. So Darmstadt and all the way up to Augsburg, those teams have yet to win in the Bundesliga, and of course Darmstadt, the only team yet to get a point this season so far in the Bundesliga. And yes, that is your Matchday 3 table. Let's wrap this up now before this gets to an hour of me rambling on. That was Matchday 3. Matchday 4, there is no Matchday 4 for this calendar week. Matchday 4 doesn't start until Friday, September the 15th. We will be live on that Friday, September 15th. Bayern Munich are playing Leverkusen, Bayer Leverkusen. It's the battle of the Bayers. 2:30 p.m. Eastern right here on the channel. We'll be live. Another Friday night Bundesliga cracker. We'll see if there's any VAR madness again. And then we're going to have to wake up early. Early game on Saturday, September the 16th. Dortmund on the road against Freiburg. 9:30 a.m. Eastern on the channel. I have to get up so early for that one. That's okay. I feel like my sleep-deprived streams are always pretty funny, so you definitely want to tune in for that one. And then, yeah, nothing going on Sunday. So, yeah, next Friday and Saturday, because this is going live on September the 5th of September. I already said September the 5th, 2023. But, yeah, Friday, September 15th, and then September 16th, we'll do 2 watch-alongs there. And then Grant Predicts will be out. The prediction show will be out on the 14th, and then the recap show will be out on the following Monday or Tuesday. And then we'll sprinkle in gaming every now and again if I have time. But like I said, I didn't say this yet, but school is started for me, so I'm going to do my best with getting as much content out as possible. But school is priority number 1 for me, so I'll do my best. Right, so that's my Matchday 3 recap of the Bundesliga. A crap week for me, but that's okay. Every week can't be perfect. Just like Miley Cyrus said, nobody's perfect. But if you are new, consider subscribing. Bottom right hand corner, click the bell icon so you're notified when I go live. Smash the like button as well. Follow me on the Twitter, @GrantAkeem is the handle, @Grant_Akeem is the Instagram, and Tickety Talk. If you want to get merch, join the Discord, or make a donation, all of those links are in the video description. And I always like to end my streams by saying it's a crazy world out there. I'm sending all my love from me to you and to everyone around the world who could use some love right now. Hope you're doing well, hope you're doing okay, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. I'll speak to you soon, everybody. See you for Matchday 4 in the Bundesliga, because it's the Bundesliga. See you, everybody.